Hi, Ryan. I'm Stephanie, a 23-year-old in Kansas City, Missouri. I recently discovered your podcast, and I absolutely love Harleys. I practically grew up in the Gales Harley-Davidson here in Kansas City. But anyways, I was hoping I could hear you talk about women and owning a Harley as far as the different weight and height that would be good as far as owning a bike. For example, I am 5'2" and weigh 120 pounds, yet I doubt I can own a wide glide starting off. Also about the history of women and the initiations that they would have to go through as far as getting into a club or becoming an old lady, and whether those processes still exist. Anyways, I really appreciate your show. I absolutely love listening to it this far, and I can't wait to hear what else you have. Thank you so much. Bye.
Who left that message?
That would be Stephanie Crabtree of Kansas City, Missouri.
Love having females involved, and we're getting more female patrons.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's offset way more guys, but to have females part of the community, I thought was really cool. Right there. That's what this episode's going to be about. That's a little hint.
I started riding at age 9, along with my 2 brothers. It was an awesome experience. I remember my dad was on the back of the motorcycle, kind of like coaching and, telling us what to do, and then he would hop off. It was a great feeling. As soon as I could twist that throttle and I had that control of that motor, it was great. You got the wind, you got the control of the motor, you got beautiful scenery.
Very liberating. Not just liberating, but the friendships that have developed are incredible. You bond with these women like now.
Women riders have always been a part of the sport of motorcycling, and especially with Harley-Davidson. If you look back to our earliest publications, which are the Enthusiast magazine, quite often they featured the pioneer women riders, like Vivian Bales and groups such as the Motor Maids. This takes us back into the 30s. So they've been out there. They've been the great pioneers alongside the men. The spirit of the road is certainly infectious. It's got its history that goes quite a ways back. I really think that women experience riding the same way men do. I don't think there's any difference. I think it's about freedom and the sense of adventure.
The feeling of owning your own Harley and being in control of where you're going and what you're doing and not being on someone else's agenda and someone else's program. It's taking control of your own person. It's an amazing feeling.
It is quite empowering, and men and women feel the same way. You are the pilot of that bike. You're behind the handlebars, you're controlling it, and that feels terrific.
The best advice I could give to any woman who wants to ride a motorcycle is take the safety course and go get your bike.
Make sure you have a mentor, someone like my dad, or maybe a friend or a family member who rides, teaching you all of the little things that you can't learn in a class, you learn by the experience of riding.
Don't wait any longer. Go get a bike. It'll change your life. It's changed mine tremendously. Just go do it.
Hey, Bikeaholics, Zero 3D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Affordable chrome lighting and comfort products. These guys ride, support riders just like you. Head over lawabidingbiker.com/store. Check out our full line of Zero 3D products. Oh yeah, once you've had Rick Rack, you'll never go back. The ultimate motorcycle luggage rack solution. Forget those messy straps and bungee cords. Go strapless, Matt, with a Rick Rack quick attach luggage system and quality bag. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Get hooked up now. Rick Rack. Did you like that addition?
Yeah,
I'm going to do that from now on, dude.
Perfect. Make sure that's in every copy from now on.
I'm going to, dude. I just coined a new phrase, dude, right there. Oh, should we just get right into it?
Hell yeah.
Welcome back, you freaking bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the big MM, also known as the
99%
large, in charge of the motorcycle scene more than any time in history. By listening, by watching live right now, whether you like it or not, and I know you like it, you're part of what we call
the biker revolution.
Yeah, baby, that's right. Although we do have one question for you before we get started. What are you waiting for, bikeaholics?
Mount up and let us take you on another wild-ass ride.
That's right. Welcome back. Ryan Erlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker Podcast and your
high-tech redneck.
Okay, so this is a patron-only live event, and only patrons who pledge $3 per piece of content or more. It's kind of that mid-level with a monthly cap of no less than 12, right?
Right.
It's kind of our mid-level. Mm-hmm. That and above, those patrons get access to this. And I see we've got Keith French, Pablo Calcerada, Hardy Holmes was in there. Thank you guys. So this is just you guys. Now, let me tell you that I specifically did this episode, Matt. Yes, I have my sweatbands on because we're doing two back-to-back. This one's private. The next one is going to be public live right after this at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But I specifically did this one because I think you guys can really help. I know by being in the private Facebook group and all that and some of the knowledge in there. And we do have some female patrons now. I don't know that they'll be involved, but I know that you all have experience out there maybe with this particular subject. And I really, if you guys have wives or girlfriends or maybe if you're a female patron and you're writing. And again, Stephanie Crabtree played it up front there, the voicemail. She's the one that left, and I really, really appreciate her leaving that voicemail. I'm going to try to, Stephanie, if you're listening, Stephanie, in the future or now, hit us up, admin@lawabidingbiker.com, and let us know your name and that you left a voicemail and that we played it. Give us the episode number, and there's a free shirt in it for you. I'm going to start sending out some gifts to people that like to leave if we use the voicemail, if it's a voicemail, because it's great subject matter. Mm-hmm. This one's been on the hopper for like 9 months.
Really?
That's how long we've
Well, we have
it.
quite a list of topics we want to get to.
Yes.
You know, it's funny when we started this thing out, we thought, how are we going to keep this thing going? What are we going to talk about? And it's just grown, and we have a huge list. And a lot of that comes from people like Stephanie that shoot us an email or leave us a voicemail and ask us a question. We put it in the hopper, and as we work through them, we get to them, and apparently it can take up to 9 months.
Yeah, correct. And I have a new topic that came up in the private Facebook group recently. That helps too. The patron private Facebook group we pull out of there too.
Oh,
some just take more research than others, so we can't do them on the fly. Like this one, we actually had to take time and research.
Mm-hmm. Car tire on the rear.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
Tease it, put it out there.
Teaser. I like it. So that's why I want you guys' help. The subject matter, our main topic tonight, is all about that. Basically about females and Harleys. She said in her voicemail, definitely specific to Harley.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool. You know, and what about sizing and what about females riding? And, you know, and then she also asked a question about women in clubs a little bit at the very end. So we'll kind of cover both. Break it up a little bit. Sound good? You
direct the ship and I will pilot along there with you.
Absolutely, buddy. So that's going to be our main topic today, guys. I think I have a new, do I have a new free video? Oh, did I put one in here, Matt? Did you see
I don't know. You're the one that puts these things together.
But I send you
I look them over so that I know what to talk about, but I don't like just dissect them and see if you've got everything in there you need to. It doesn't look like you do. You might have to wing one.
That's okay. Well, I could wing one. Let's see.
Right there, the top one.
Oh yeah, there you go. No, I don't want to do that.
Oh,
dude,
come on, man.
I want to talk about
the audience right now is like, what are they going to talk about? What free video?
Oh, there's one. New free video, guys. If you're using the wireless Harley interface module, the WIM, of course, we have a video on how to install it, but I also did another free video, how to update your Harley wireless headset interface module. It's completely free. Using your Boom audio device manager, I walk you through it step by step, And that video, let me just take that, Matt, and we're going to drag it right up into this episode so that it makes it in the show notes. It will be in the show notes. I'm not going to give you guys the URL because it's a YouTube URL and it's complicated, but it will be in the show notes, lawabidingbiker.com/whatever episode this number is, whatever episode number it is. And then we got hopefully we'll get to another voicemail that could be interesting too. Real quick, I do appreciate the patrons. So please, as we get started here, guys, the free wire one from you guys is still going strong. Hardy Holmes, he won a free wire. He's in the private chat. That's so cool. That's still going strong for you. Of course, right out of our very own store. And again, don't forget, we're doing another live episode right after that. But I do want to thank all the patrons, and we've had a lot of patrons joining up. And for that, we are very, very humbled. And thank you guys so much for that. Let's thank him, Matt, real quick.
We have Jim Cootie. We have Matt Carter of Casper, Wyoming. Scott Gilliand of Springfield, Ohio.
William Coleman of Killeen, Texas. Joshua Ross of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Nick Grotesma of Waldeck, New Jersey. He's top tier.
Heath Mapes of Warren, Michigan, top tier. Jonathan Pauly of Battle Creek, Michigan, also top tier. And Ellis Shore of Lewiston, Idaho, just down the road from us.
Nice. Lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. That's right. Pledge a certain amount per piece of content. No risk to you because you can put a monthly cap. There are benefits like t-shirts and stickers and the private Facebook group, and also access to premium live broadcasts just like this one that we're doing, and that we have patrons right in here willing to help us along with the show, with their input and live chat with us and all that kind of stuff. So Stephanie that left the message, let's put it a little bit of perspective. So 5'2", 120 pounds. So
fairly
small,
petite
gal.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, reminds me, unless my youngest daughter gets a growth spurt, she's going to be petite. But I thought that about my oldest too.
Yeah, you never know. She sprouted up recently, so you don't know.
True.
You don't know until they get a little bit older.
Well, Stephanie's 23. I don't think she's going to sprout no more.
Stephanie's done sprouting.
She's done sprouting. So very cool though that that she brings up this subject. So.
And it depends too if how everybody's different. Legs can be longer, torsos can be longer. So she could be 5'2" and have be all legs and be able to ride a bike that another gal who's 5'2" and has shorter legs can. It really just depends on the length of your legs and your inseam too, which we will get into.
True. Good point. And it was interesting, the YouTube video I played up front. They hear it as sound, but it was a YouTube video. Kind of interesting the history a little bit, and as long back to the 30s. And what did they call them? The Mary or the Maids?
The Motor Maidens.
The Motor Maidens and stuff like that. I didn't get a lot of time to research that. But
there's female clubs out there.
Yeah, there is. In fact, not get into the club side of it too yet. Let's do the size thing first. But yeah, there are.
There's also just female riding groups.
Yes.
Hog. There's a lot of female riders in Hog.
Yes. Yep. And there are clubs and we'll get into club. Let's do the size first.
Yep.
So.
I thought you were leading me that way. I apologize.
No, I'm not. No, it's okay. And we could do the club thing.
You
first
zigged, I zagged.
No.
Let's follow the show notes.
So here's a couple things. I have ridden, in fact, without mentioning names, we had a female, Leo, that was riding with us for a while. Mm-hmm. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
She rode Street Glide.
No.
Well, then there was
a
two.
Sportster.
Okay, well, that was the first one that rode with us. She was on a Sportster. There was a second one that was riding around for a little while. She had a Street Glide.
Trying to remember who that was. Oh. That's all right.
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
Yeah, I'm talking about the one that was riding a Sportster.
Yeah.
You're not talking about Ed. He's not a...
No. Ed's the tallest girl I know.
Because he's not here, I can trash him, dude. I can straight up trash him.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. So, but we did. So we have a little bit of experience, and I'm going to... And so, I didn't have a specific female to ask to come in here.
Yeah.
And
Ed's wife rides.
True. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she rides too. But I guess I didn't have a female to sit down in here that would specifically know, what they did. And both those females are not extremely short.
No.
They're not 5'2".
No.
And that was my issue.
No.
Is I got to find I can find a tall woman that rides, but that's not really what, what we're talking about. So.
Well, did you just draw on your own experience? I mean, you're fairly short.
I am. I'm 5'8".
Yeah.
And so I can draw my experience a little bit. I don't have to make any mods, though.
No, you don't.
Those bikes are made for guys my size.
Yeah.
You have to do more mods as a tall guy than a short guy.
But I mean,
if you're below 5'8", you start getting into some reachability issues.
And there's guys that have the same issue that are shorter. it really just depends
Stilettos on steel, Keith French. I knew that was coming. One for Keith French.
Oh, I popped out the chat, but there it is. All right, I got to start paying attention to this.
Keith French gets the drum roll.
It just depends on if you can put your feet flat on the ground and hold the bike upright when you're stopped, and if you can reach the controls. So ultimately, if you're a female or a male of smaller stature, you just got to go and sit on them and try them out and see what fits you. I mean, I remember the first Harley I looked at was a wide glide, and I knew that the wide glide had the forward controls originally. I ended up putting them even farther forward, but I was looking for a bike that I would fit on at 6'4". And so even if you're 5'2", just go sit on them until you find one that fits you. And also there's a lot of things that I think we'll get into as we discuss this topic, but you can make adjustments as you go along.
Yes. And I'll tell you this, since you brought it up, because I don't know exactly how we're going down with this episode, but one of the things that you need to think about is, I will tell you, just if you're a new rider, and I'm not saying Stephanie is, I'm just going to throw it out there for all groups, is you really, a lot of people will get on a bike, and I've seen it, especially new riders, even males, and you'll go down and she's 5'2", and she sits on a bike, right? So she goes and sits on a street glide. Okay. And she tries to, a lot of new riders will straddle the bike, and then they try to touch both feet, and they'll immediately say, well, this bike doesn't fit me. Okay, that's not the case, and I want to get that out there, is that, and I get it, a lot of people do, and this is what I would submit to everybody. We're not going to get off track on a safety thing, but in police motors, you'll see police motors, anybody who's trained as a police motor, just because they ride a police motor doesn't mean they're necessarily trained, but anybody that's been to the schools, we don't stop with both feet down. There's reasons for that. You shouldn't need to stop with both feet down. You should be able to get on your bike, high side, and get on that, and then push over, get your kickstand off, and then you should be able to manipulate your bike. Yes, it's nice to have that cushion to be able to put your other foot down, but it's not really necessary. So I don't think that a perfectly fit bike that you have to have both feet on the ground. Tiptoeing's fine, and even if you can just tiptoe to one side and tiptoe the other, that's still, you're not, like Matt said, you're not going to find, and we'll talk mods a little bit too in a minute, but I just want to get that out there that, when you become a very competent rider, you really should just be stopping. There's a couple reasons for that, since it's out there, and I know the question will be there. Number one, if you're riding two abreast and you're on the outside track, so if you're on the right side, you should be putting your right foot down. That would be your brake side. Now, the reason is because all the oil for the cars, guys, is in the center of the road, and we call it dirty foot, and you don't want dirty foot, which means if I put my left foot down, I'm going to be in that possible oil stream, and I could slip out. Plus, now my foot's going to have oil on it, and all that kind of stuff. So we call it dirty foot. The guy in the left track, if you're riding two abreast, side by side, should have his left foot down, and he'll be on his brake side. The other reason for that is that we're always looking in our mirrors, and we're always ready. That's why we always, when we emergency brake, we're immediately shifting down into first gear. We're looking in our mirrors. We train that way, and then one foot down, and that allows us to take off quicker. We only have to pop one foot up. And if we see somebody speeding up and it looks like we're going to get rear-ended, we've left ourselves space. We're monitoring our mirrors, and now one foot's ready. We're in first gear, and it's just much easier to take off that way, and it looks sharper too. So I would submit that because of those reasons, it is possible to ride with one foot, and that can definitely help somebody like her if she gets good and goes to some training on how to do that. I think she'll be less intimidated by even a bigger bike. And I'm not suggesting she goes out and gets a street glide right away. And the street glides are a little bit lower while we're on that track there. Yeah. They're about an inch lower.
They're an inch lower
than your
rear.
Ultras, right?
Yeah.
How about your road glides?
Road glides, same way. The road glide and street glide, they're both sit an inch lower than the Ultras. And then you can put a different seat on them and sit even like about an inch lower than that. So it's, in the group here, Rick Hebner is saying he's got a female rider in their local hog chapter. She's 5'4", rides a CVO street glide with no problems. It's not lowered. She does have to reach forward a bit, but runs stock bars. All I'll say about what you were saying is, you're 100% right on that, but your brand new rider's probably not going to have those skills, and if they can't at least touch both feet and keep the bike balanced, they may have a hard time.
You're right. It's definitely a skill level thing.
Yeah, because they're not going to pull in keyhole and park. They're going to pull in. They're going to back it up. So they got to get the feet on the ground. And
that would be another issue is backing. Yeah. That's good that you brought that up. We need to talk about that.
Make a little note so we can hit that again. So
I'm making a note now.
Biggest thing is there's all kinds of different bikes out there and different fits. So, get what's comfortable for you at 5'2" and 120 pounds. Get one that you feel comfortable on, that you feel that you can control. And as you get to be a better rider, assuming she's new, I don't know that she's new, but
I didn't really understand that. She's just looking to get a Harley.
Yeah, she may not be a new rider, but for new riders, you may start with something small. Hell, my first bike was a little 600 sport bike with, it was pretty small and nimble, and then now I have a touring bike. Some people, they get their first bike, they go out and get a full dressed Harley, but I was 17, 18 years old and went and bought a small bike, one, because it's what I could afford. Let's be honest. And it was my first bike. I wanted to get comfortable with it. So
that was my first bike, sports bike. When I was 18.
Get something that, regardless of your size, get something that you're comfortable on, and you can always move up from there. And then you can start using those techniques that you were talking about to maybe, if you're 5'2", ride a bigger bike, because now you're comfortable and you know how to ride it, and you may not necessarily have to be flat-footed all the time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And I think my point being that don't be intimidated by that. Some people think, oh, she's 5'2", she can never ride a street glide. Don't do that to yourself. I think you can.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Especially with some mods we'll talk about. Mm-hmm. There are 8 female riders in our Hog Chapter 3 Heritages. Keith French, good. Thanks, Keith, in the private chat there. He's Rick Kemner says he's seen several short females riding Softail Slims, which are lower set. Yes. And we're going to get into some bike models. We'll do it 2 ways. We'll start with the bikes that would fit her best, just out of the chute. But I just wanted to say, don't let that limit you on what you want to ride. And then we'll talk about some mods on the street glides and road glides. Now I'll tell you this, with my work bike, not my personal bike, which is a 14 street glide special, it sits lower. My regular police bike right now is it'll be a 2013. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I'm getting a new, they're trading mine out, and I'm getting a new 18 Milwaukee 8. I will tell you, it is sweet. I will tell you that Milwaukee 8 sits a little bit higher. I've trained on them, and even though it's a street glide special, well, technically they're not. They're ultra. It's an ultra electric glide. Sorry.
Yeah, you're right.
Sorry. They're electric glides, but it sits it's almost the same as my street glide, but it's an electric glide, so it sits that inch higher. And I'm 5'8", and backing is a bitch.
Yeah.
If it's flat, it's one thing at 5'8", but if there's an incline,
and the seat you guys are running too,
the tractor seat.
Yeah, the tractor seat sits you up quite a bit more, a couple inches, I think, right?
It does.
Yeah.
So
it's good for riding.
It is.
It's comfortable. It's a great position.
Yes.
But for somebody with a little bit shorter legs, I bet you that's a real booger to back that sucker up if you have to.
It is. And that's the one thing I just have to be really cognizant of is, we have some backing techniques, nonetheless, you can only do so much, especially when you're it depends how much weight you have behind you. And if you can't get flat footed, which there's no way on that one. Even on my street glide, I'm not flat footed. I'm not tippy toed, but I'm not completely flat footed. So where was I going with that? So that would be one thing is you talk backing is be aware of that. Especially 5'2", if she does bump up even with some mods to a street glide or road glide, you don't probably want to get in a position where you need to back.
Push an 860 pound bike.
Unless you ride with people, they can help you. We do that sometimes when we have to back up inclines. We'll have somebody help push us, something like that. If you just have to park that way or something. But
you can put reverse on those things if you have to, which we'll talk about when we get into the mods.
Oh, see, you're thinking. I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking of that mod. That's a really step up mod. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's see what we got going on here. Softail Slims are good. Keith French says a female we have is 5'3", has one of those. So there you go. Right here, Stephanie, if you're listening, well, you will be in podcast format probably. Right there, real world, 5'3". Keith French says Softail Slims are good.
Sportsters.
So speaking of the female that we were specifically talking about, let me look here. She's not short by any means. In fact, the Sportster she got was a 1200, and it had forward controls on it and some It did have forward
It
controls?
did.
Yes,
yeah,
I
when
forget.
she bought it,
it was a
had,
1200, right?
It was a 1200 with forward controls and aftermarket bars. So if it was stock, it might have actually been a little small for her because of her long legs.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point.
But it was her first bike, period. So that was a great first bike for her, just because of the size. It's nimble and easy for her to maneuver around and learn to ride on.
I agree. Do you want to handle this?
Are you searching for the easiest and quickest detachable luggage system for your motorcycle? Rick Rack has just what you're looking for.
Rick Rack.
Rick Rack. Forget all those frustrating straps and bungee cords. Who wants that mess? That can come loose and slap your paint. Check out one of Rick Rack's awesome quick attached strapless luggage rack systems. This father and son team designed something really special that you can't find anywhere else. Yep, these guys ride, so they truly understand the needs of bikers. The Rick Rack. Where you at? Rick Rack. Quick attachment system is strong, durable, and secure with a lockable system. Also, check out their full line of quality touring bags that accompany your quick detach system. Once you use Rick Rack, oh, you're horrible.
You'll never go back.
You're supposed to go Rick Rack.
Rick Rack.
You'll never go back. What are you waiting for, Bikeaholics? Head over to lawabidingbiker.com and check out our full line of Rick Rack system bags. And you can find that at lawabidingbiker.com/store.
Rick Rack. There
I was trying to get you to do it, man.
I know.
3 times you didn't do it.
I just coined that today, dude.
We'll work on that.
We are. Anyways, guys, show us some love. Head over to the store, guys. It's some great stuff. And we will be doing, in fact, the 20th, we are filming a Rick Rack install. It's amazing stuff, which is why we brought it to our store.
Pretty quick and easy. Just slap your bag on, take it off.
That's how I'll be rolling from here. As soon as I get installed on my bike, that's how I'm rolling from now on, dude.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
No more straps, no more, because I'm in a hurry more than everybody because I have film gear, I have extra bags, I have all kinds of extra stuff you guys don't have to carry on these trips when I do my documentaries. But with the quicker I can do it with the Rick Rack, dude, it is amazing stuff that this father-son, they're bikers, they're down to earth, and that's why we brought them on, and they wanted to sponsor the show and brought it right to our store. We're selling it. We got a whole list of it. So check it out, guys. All right. Let's look at some bikes. So here's one thing I want to bring up, Stephanie. And again, this is for all because I don't know exactly the, riding level of Stephanie, as we've mentioned. So we're going to do it because there may be other ladies listening in the future, and we kind of want to make it evergreen. So there's no better time right now. Oh, look at Keith French bought Bug Slide today. Glad you are restocked. Yes, don't ride without the slide, Keith says. We are, and in our next episode, which is public live, we're going to talk about the state of Law Abiding Biker, and we're going to talk about the store fire we had and all that kind of stuff. So there will be another episode after this, and of course in podcast format, all about that and where we're going. But we do have a lot of stuff restocked in the store. We're working on that, but I don't want to get sidetracked too far on that because we are doing a full episode on that. There's no better time than right now, Lurch. If you're a female and like Stephanie, that you're really saying, I want to get a Harley Davidson. I want to be in the market for a Harley Davidson, because Harley, as we know, is really changing their market a little bit with their new HD Street models, which, remember the review we did when it first came out? What was that, 2-3 years ago? Something like that?
At least a couple.
Yeah. Here's the deal. You want to get started as a female, even 5'2", and it's something that you probably want to touch, at least tiptoe, both feet down, a cheap entry level bike. Harley Davidson has never had it before the last couple of years, and that's the street models. And you're looking at the Harley Davidson Street 500, which is just an entry level, MSRP in at about $6,900. And then you got the Harley Davidson Street 750, which is basically the same height, same bike. It's just got a little bit bigger motor, coming in at about $7,600. And then you can move up to the Street Rod, which it visually looks a little bit higher, but I shouldn't say that for sure because I don't have it spec'd out, but it's coming in at about $8,700. Can you see that okay, Matt?
I can.
On your screen.
I can see it even better now.
Yeah, bumped it up, made it large. That's what I do best. All right. So and it looks a little bit higher, but I don't have it spec'd out. But I would, if I were in that position, especially if you're just a new rider and you want to get your feet wet, so to speak, man, for the price and something that's going to work for you to get started, it's always, Matt, am I right? Before the HD Street Series, it's always been the go-to for a beginner rider was the Sportster line, right? Like we talked about our female friend.
It's definitely an economical option. My personal opinion, and it's mine alone, is I'd go right for the Sportster.
Really?
Then you have a bike that looks like a Harley and has a little bit more of that classic Harley look. It's just me. The Street there's a reason
you're starting to bump up in price, of course.
You're gonna go from $7,000 for the Street 500 to a super low, which is about $8,700. So for $1,700 more bucks, you're gonna get a bike that actually has some metal and chrome on it and has more of a Harley Davidson look. So if it was me personally,
true that,
I would suggest starting out on a super low or maybe the 1200 custom. The Iron 883 is a little bit different, but I would go for either the 1200 or the super low, because I think then you're still, if you're wanting to get a Harley and you want the sound and the look, you're going to be most happy, I believe, with the super low or a 1200 custom.
And a lot of these are as low, if not lower, than the HD Street Series. And so it's point well taken.
Look at the 1200 custom. It's got a fairly low seat on it. It looks like a Harley. The super low looks good too. They have a low seat height. They're lighter. For the price, so let's say price is an issue. A brand new Street's $7,000. A brand new super low is $8,700. Buy a couple-year-old super low and you're at the same price as a new Street 500. And I think you got something that's a little more quality and a little more in the styling of a Harley Davidson. So I think you would be happier with that for a few years until you decide you want to move up to a bigger bike, if you decide to.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I like that. I'm looking up here at chat. Rick Kemner says, we've got a female rider, and thank you guys. This is what I wanted. Input, because I know there's so much experience. I'm no expert on this subject matter. I did some research and I have my own ideas, but we do pull from some experience of females riding motorcycles. We've got a female rider, he says, in our local hog chapter, about 5'4", rides a CVO Street Glide with no problem, and it's not lowered. Has to reach forward a bit, but runs stock bars. Nice. Mm-hmm. So there you go. And she's a little bit taller, 2 inches taller, 5'4". But again, that goes back to my point, is you can ride, and I'm sure she has to, probably lean or tiptoe one way or the other, which is fine. More your weight's on one side, even if you have your other foot out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the
that
Street
way you
Glides
can kind of bounce back and forth.
Road Glides sit pretty low, and then you can switch out a seat and drop it down another inch. So then it gets down to pretty much weight.
Right.
You're 120 pounds and you're trying to move an 860-pound bike around. When it's underway and moving, no big deal.
Correct. That makes you right.
Low speed, no big deal.
Right.
It's when you have
backing.
When you're backing mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
And don't worry, if you drop that sucker, a 120-pound woman can pick up that 860-pound bike if you use the right technology or the right technique, not technology.
Yes.
Sorry,
it will be harder.
If you use the right technique,
do it.
Yeah.
You know what they say about size on the police motors course? We always say that because I'm 5'8", 160, and I'm fairly confident. I throw. They tell me, my team, that I throw that bike around like I you know,
when you're moving.
But the only thing size helps you is that's what they say. The only thing size helps you in riding a motorcycle is when you have to pick it up. Yep. Yeah. Other than that, if you have good technique, you can outride the biggest guy in the world.
And I'll even submit that sometimes the bigger guys have it's more difficult for them.
Can be. Yeah.
It can be for me, moving it around, throwing it around, because of how I fit on the bike.
Because your freaking knees are up in your chin.
Yeah, it can be. It's hard, it can be difficult.
Because you're 6'4",
and if I was riding those bikes you guys have, I'd probably have to put some apes on them. I don't know if they'd let me put apes on the.
I even pushed the bars forward.
Yeah, I'd shove them forward as far as I could.
Even our other guys are shoving them. The taller guys are shoving them forward, but I shove them forward just because I like them up there, anyways. But yeah, you have to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good. It's a good point. There's just as many problems. We don't think about that. We always think about the poor short rider. The tall riders have actually bigger issue than the short riders,
especially when it comes to technical riding.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Well said. So there you go.
What other bikes are you were starting down the path looking at some bikes?
I'm gonna.
I think you get into probably some of the soft tails and things like that should be fine.
Let's go over these though real quick since we got them up on the screen. How we doing on time? Oh, we're looking good. The super low, which is 87. That would be a good one. These are all in the Sportster family. The Iron 883 is a badass looking little bike. I don't know if you guys haven't seen the Canada documentary, make sure you watch the Canada documentary on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe while you're over there, guys. We're approaching, 45,000 subs.
Getting close.
Please help us. We definitely want to break 50 grand, hopefully in the next couple of months. But the Iron 883, there was a chick girl.
Hold on. A woman.
Sorry, I can't say chick anymore.
You misogynist bastard, you.
Dude, I'm not Matt Lauer. I just said chick, dude.
Yeah, I don't think you can say anything anymore. Hey, it was nice knowing you.
For this episode, we probably should have consulted with Harvey Weinstein and Matt Lauer and see what they think about this subject.
I can't believe Matt Lauer got in trouble.
That's for me.
Apparently, there was a word show recently, and it might have been, I don't know who it was, who the host was, but he said, "Welcome, ladies and remaining gentlemen."
Oh, I like that. Dude.
Anyways, you meant to say woman.
Woman up in... she worked at it's in our documentary. I think she made the documentary quick. Did she?
Up in Canada at Conquer. She actually got on her.
I've been editing so much, I don't know what clips I use and what clips I don't. Okay, yeah. That was I think that was an 883.
Cool chick.
Yeah, cool chick. Apes on it. Cool chick. We're going to say chick here.
That was a nice bike.
We're a podcast. Yeah. We're pirate radio, dude. We can say whatever we want.
I was just being a wise ass. I don't think chick's bad.
No. 1200 custom, like you say, that's always been a good old standby. The 1200 custom Sportster is just a solid, been around for years, ain't going anywhere. Tons of parts for them, tons of things you can do with them. Definitely have more of the Harley look. And then we move into the 48, which is just a kicking. I don't know. Maybe she had I don't know if it was a 48 or an 883. I didn't look at it close enough.
Yeah, it might have. It
was one of those two.
I think it was an 883 because it had that wheel setup, a little thinner wheel, whereas now that 1200 and the 48 have a little bit fatter tire on the front. Also, the one, scroll down just a little bit more. The next one down there, the Roadster. That one's looking pretty cool. That looks like a flat track.
It's like a cafe racer.
Yeah, kind of like a flat track bike. That's kind of neat.
Harley's doing some progressive stuff with their smaller line of bikes with both their HD Street and Sportster. We've talked about that in past episodes about competing with, which you guys will hear. We did an episode competing with Royal Enfield. Competing, and Royal Enfield trying to get a piece of the market.
That one's not out yet.
Right. It's not out, but it will be by the time this one comes out. It will be long out. So those aren't out yet if you're live. But that, and then, and the state of Harley Davidson and where they're going and why we're seeing all these new models. But those are some interesting episodes. But there you go. You see it right there with their HD Street line and their more progressive Sportster line.
Yeah, they've got to attract the young new riders, but at the same time maintain their loyal base and still keep those, the longtime riders happy with the classic look. So I'm sure it's quite a
They don't want to lose people to Royal they don't want to lose Stephanie to Royal Enfield.
That's right.
They don't want to lose Stephanie to other manufacturers. So and we talk in depth about that on those episodes, guys. So that would be a perfect place to start. I guarantee 5.2, you'll be able to handle any of the aforementioned bikes in the HD Street and the 1200 Custom, even at 5.2. Yeah, some of them are a little bit higher than others. You may have to tiptoe, but you're going to be able to get on it, rip around, without making mods. So, we have to look at price. And if Stephanie's looking to stay in a certain price range, then certainly, out the door, you know what you're getting and that you're not going to have to mod it, so to speak. Everybody will mod it. You'll mod it. You'll get something for it, but you won't necessarily have to, to fit it.
And I think the same for most of the Softails too.
I agree.
Most of them, especially the lowrider.
So see that Softail Slim. They were saying that in the group.
Look at the seat in that lowrider. One of the guys mentioned that too. That sucker really dips down low.
Nice. Seat has a lot to do with it.
And definitely. And the frame kind of is important too. Those Softails have that type of frame where you sit down low inside the front of the rear tire there. Can you scroll up just a little bit? I can't even remember the name of that bike, the one below the lowrider. Just scroll up so I can see the name. Yeah, because that's a really good option for no, the other way.
Oh, sorry.
Scroll up. Yeah, there it is. A Sport Glide. That's what it is. So that thing is basically a Softail, but it has a little small fairing on the front and it's got hard bags that come with it. So that's a real good option for folks that want something that they can do a little bit more touring on, or at least take some long day trips or weekend trips. and it's not a real heavy bike. You do sit low because of the soft tail type frame, but you got 2 hard bags and you got a bit of a fairing on the front. So that's a real good option that just came out in the last, couple of years.
Yeah.
It hasn't been around for a whole long time.
That seat
a few years. Yeah, you see you sit down in it like you do the soft tail frames.
Right. Yeah, you're right. There you go. I hadn't really paid attention to that too much. Yeah, you really, and that's the cool thing about that soft tail frame, is you kind of do get more of the dipped seat, so to speak. Even a deluxe, which is going to be a heavier bike, a soft tail deluxe. I'm just going to name some of these since we're audio podcast. And we're just on the HD site under their newest bikes, guys, if you are live and want to follow along. Rick Kemner says the Sport Glide is new in 2018. Haven't seen anyone riding them yet.
I've seen it before, so either I saw them advertising it for this coming year or it was out before. But
gotcha. I think it's right that it just came out in 2018.
Or it might have been, maybe it was a Softail Slim that had hard bags, but there was another bike that's been out for the last couple of years that had a Softail.
Is it the Softail Slim?
It could be. Maybe that's what
I might have been a pretty popular bike.
Yeah, I might have saw the Softail Slim with hard bags. It does, in the picture we're looking at, it doesn't, but I do recall Harley having a Softail bike with hard bags. Maybe that Sport Glide, the name does sound familiar, or doesn't sound familiar. It sounds new, so I think it's a new version of what they've had before. Maybe one of the guys in the chat can verify that. But for a Softail frame and having some hard bags, it's a really good option.
Yeah, I agree. You've got the Softail Deluxe, not a bad option either. I know a gal that I work with that has one of those, and she's probably, I don't know what she is, 5'8" or so, I would guess. Right. What? Although she's not very short, the other female, Ed, significant other, what was she? I forget the model.
She had a
because she wasn't really short though, but she's shorter than us, so it's right. It's a valid point what she was riding.
She's got a Sportster. She sold that, and I'll figure it out while you're talking.
It wasn't a Dyna, was it?
No.
Well, then it's going to be a
it was a
soft tail.
It wasn't a Road King, but it was one of those ones.
Well, that's in touring class then.
Yeah. Oh Lord, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I can't.
Was it Road Kings? No, it wasn't a Road King. I'll figure it out. Anyways.
Right. That's fine. So yeah, you can move to the Fat Boy. I don't know. I guess it would fit if you like that style. You don't see. I'm surprised they're continuing with that model. You don't see a lot of those around. That's that
a Lowrider S that she had. Yeah, it was a Dyna Lowrider S.
No, mine's the Lowrider S.
No. Okay. Shit.
Yeah, it was up here. It was in the Sportster, and it was one of, but it was a wasn't an. I can't. I'm horrible.
It was a 20. I'll look it up.
It was a peanut tank, bro. So it was one of these models right here. It was a peanut tank.
So that wasn't her new. That's not the bike she wrecked. That was her first bike was a Sportster.
Oh right,
that bobber looking deal that she did.
Oh, that's right.
But then she had the one with a it kind of looked like a.
Yeah, I'm getting mixed up. You're right with the different bikes. Yeah. No biggie. But yeah, so let's look here. Fat Bob, but that's another. But any of these soft tails, we've been through most of them, I think, are going to be just fit you just fine too. But again, it's just, they're going to be more power. They're going to be, once you bump up into the soft tail line, when you're talking Sportster, HD Street, those are some lower, horsepower motorcycles. Once you start jumping up into soft tail, you're going to get the bigger motors. In fact, dive in on this. Let me go back. Darn it. I hate that.
What'd you do?
Oh, it takes you out where you don't want to be here on this site. So now we talk, and again, more power in the soft tail line and all that. Now this is interesting, Matt. What would have been our next thing to look at after soft tails?
The touring bikes.
Dynas.
Dynas is?
Discontinued, bro.
Oh.
We haven't talked about that. I was going to talk about it. We won't get in depth
save that
with
for
it.
Another podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, but they completely got rid of this year. They dumped the Dyna line.
Softail Slim is what she had. We've mentioned it already.
Softail Slim, yeah. Exactly.
We've mentioned it already. That's what her last bike was, the Softail Slim.
Okay.
Which, when you kind of look at it, looks a bit like a Road King of sorts.
Is
that for the Dyna?
Moment of silence, please, everybody. The Dyna line is no longer. Moment of silence. Yeah.
There can't be a moment of silence if you don't shut up.
Moment of silence. Silence, fool!
I am going to buy a wide glide.
Well, you're going to have to get an older one now.
I am going to get an older one because my first Harley was an 06 wide glide, and I don't want another 06 because while that had the 6-speed transmission, it had the 88-inch motor in it, so I'm looking for an 07, 08.
Yep, my 05 Dyna wide glide.
It was an 88 with a 5-speed.
88 with a 5-speed. That was I tricked that thing up. And it was obnoxious with big radius, Vance and Hines, big radius. Rick Kemner in the private Facebook or private chat here, Softails are good for shorter riders as you sit in the frame rather than on the bike. And I think you mentioned that, like the touring bike. So very good. Softail, definitely, Stephanie, or any of you other ladies listening out there, think of that model. So yeah, so we can't look at Dynas because there would have been some like the Lowrider S.
But there's still Dynas out there, obviously.
So I wonder if the Dyna Lowrider S is going to go up in value now that the Dyna line's gone, and I'm glad I hung on to it for right now. What do you think about that?
It might. I doubt it. I've never seen any of them go up in great. I've never seen any of them go up in great value.
No, you're right.
Some
maybe
hold
it'll hold it a little.
It'll
more.
hold its. I mean, Harleys in general hold their value well
because that's a line that's gone, and that was a popular line for so many years.
Wait till the new Sons of Anarchy
what are they gonna
series
do?
Comes out. There's some discussions, or somebody leaked a photo of something of like a first 9 kind of thing when Jax was young, like the first.
Right, we did it. Well, we did a whole episode on it with me and Chewy.
But what I'm saying is, if that gets,
they're going to be riding Softails.
Oh, that's true. They'll be riding older bikes, won't they?
They're going to be riding older Dynas, or they'll give them new bikes HD because they sponsor that.
No, they're
going to be riding Softails.
It's going to have to be period correct.
Oh yeah, period correct.
So it's going to be 70s and 80s bikes.
You're right.
Never mind. I was going to say if that comes out again, it could make that bike go up in value, but because that's kind of a Sons of Anarchy kind of looking bike.
Yeah, totally. That's how we tricked it out, just messing around. Yeah, it's West Coast, California West Coast type
tracker bars
with the tracker bars, high risers. Yeah, that's a. All right, so we move up to the touring line, and we already mentioned this. This is where at 5.2 you may have to mod a little bit,
and probably go with the Street Glide or the Road Glide because they sit an inch lower in the rear. You're probably going to want to change out the seat. And
there are some lower profile seats. Before we just breeze over that.
HD makes some, and there's a lot of aftermarket companies that make them.
I had on my 05 wide glide,
didn't you?
I had a LAB-168-Smaller, and
I had one as well,
and it was not comfortable, but it looked badass, and it literally took 2 inches
at least
off my stock seat. I dumped
at least
2 inches. Now I still could ride 3 hours before my butt got really hurt, and it was a gel filled seat. But I would look at, there's a lot of, any of the brands, but I'm telling you, that's an expensive seat, but it was a quality seat. It was comfortable for what it was.
Right.
But man, I remember that with my wide glide. It totally changed. I already had apes. I had 16-inch apes, and I already looked like a spider monkey. And then I took that seat and dumped 2 inches, and it really made me, I remember I put that seat, I was like, holy cow, I could touch flat footed, and my knees were even bent on that wide glide, and I had those big old apes, man. You can really dump some inches with seats.
You sure can. And enough to where I had my stock seat for my wide glide, which I would ride when we took longer rides. And then I had a LaPera seat, which I rode around town. And when I had my mirrors adjusted for that stock seat, when I put the LaPera on, I had to readjust my mirrors. Like you say, I dropped a couple inches.
Yes. What seat was that? Sorry, you had?
I had a LaPera, same as you.
That's right. I forgot you did. Which one was yours, though?
You had a Solo. You had the bare bones.
Bare bones. That's right. Good memory, dude.
And mine was it was a 2-up. You had a Solo seat. You had a Solo seat.
I had a Solo seat,
and mine was real similar to that bare bones, but it was 2-up. But to be honest with you, if you pick somebody up, you might be able to take them from the tavern to your house before her ass started hurting because that rear seat was skinny and it was small. But
it
mine wasn't the bare bones, but it was like one that had just a little bit more than it, but not much more.
Right.
But they
the
look,
bare bones is just exactly what it says. The bare bones,
and they look cool on a wide glide or on a soft tail because
it had stitching on it.
They just hug the frame.
They do.
Yeah,
it's almost like there's no seat.
Right. Pretty rad.
It is pretty freaking rad. I could do that when I was a lot younger, Matt. I could do that. Now I'm 45. That would just kill me now. But
Big Daddy Kane's in the chat.
Hey, Big Daddy Kane, what's up, buddy? Glad to see you in there. We just Big Daddy Kane runs the store, you guys. He's in the chat now. He's heads up the store down there, and you guys know the recent stuff. We'll be talking about that a little bit in the next episode, but awesome to see you, buddy.
Perfect segue into that commercial right there.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Hey, Bikeaholics, searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? Zero 3D has just what you're looking for. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Zero 3D's got your back with chrome lighting, comfort products, no modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for an easy installation. That equals less time installing, more time riding, guys. Zero 3D has a design team with over 40 years experience with a passion for design and innovation. These guys are bikers and care about bikers just like you. They pride themselves on great customer service. Got a question? Get in touch with them via email, sales03d.com, or give them a call, 715-808-0027. Zero 3D is distributed in the United States by Drag Specialties, in Europe by Parts Europe and Zodiac, and in Asia by Twin Art. Check at your local Harley dealership and ask for Zero Parts. Better yet, help support Law-Abiding Biker right here, guys. Hit us up, lawabidingbiker.com/store. Check out our full line of Zero 3D products, and I guarantee Big Daddy Kane, best of customer service down in our store. That guy bends over backwards to help bikers every single day. Got a question? Hit Big Daddy up there on our contact form. He is the man and very, very knowledgeable. You'll find no better customer service at this point, I believe, than right in our store, because the way Big Daddy, and Brian's involved down there now too, Brian White. He's also, you may be talking to him too. He's up and running, helping Big Daddy and getting more familiar with the emails and all that. So there you go, guys. All right. So
I think we hit the bikes pretty well, and just looking at the time, we should probably hit a little bit more of her question.
I want to talk one more thing though, quickly, and then you're right.
Okay.
Thank you for keeping me. Only because one more mod that I would say is shocks. So you can drop 2 inches with a seat, and briefly you can do shocks. Be careful, because when you're doing shocks, you can also affect your rideability and comfort of the bike. Now, I will tell you, they're not sponsoring us, but we have done a video on progressive shocks where we put them on. And I'm just going, I don't have this in the notes. I'm going off my experience. On progressive shocks, we put them on Popeye's bike. We have a video on the YouTube channel. We can show you how to change them out, no problem. But I know progressive shocks makes a shock that will dump it an inch without losing rideability. Mm-hmm. That's their only, if you go any more than an inch, you're going to lose rideability. Just understand, if you're just riding around town and you're not touring, then it's probably not as big a deal. But if you really want to keep that touring feeling and long distance feeling, then I would look at that. lawabidingbiker.com/banners, BANNERS. All our affiliate banners are over there. If you're going to order shocks or any stuff, guys, hit one of those banners, click through, no additional cost to you. If you do make a purchase, we get a small kickback. We've got all our high affiliates that support us over there. So, all right. With that said, do you want to move on?
Yeah, just to wrap it up, you can change your seat, you can change your shocks. There's all types of pegs that you can switch out to make reachability easier. You can switch out your bars. I mean, that's the great thing about a Harley. It's very customizable. So for the most part, you can find ways to make just about any of them fit your needs. Going back up to our question there so we can kind of hit it. If you scroll back up for me there.
Just 1 second.
Or do what you want to do. As you usually do.
Yeah, sorry.
Because I know she had a couple more questions about the culture, and I think she even asked about clubs and being an old lady and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which, we don't.
Some of the guys are asking about Super Chat, and let me just throw that out there, that the reason there's no Super Chat is because this is a private patron only. When it's a private link and a private event, there's no option. When we go public, everybody will see, both in iOS. It is out. It is available in iOS. Last episode, you said no?
No, I did say no. Thank you for correcting that. I didn't think it was out yet, but
it is.
You're right. This episode's are the patrons only. They already support this enough. We're not trying to hit them up with super chats and stuff like that. So
exactly.
that makes sense.
They're already paying per piece of content. 2018, no better time than to become a patron, because as you'll hear in our public, when we do our next one, what we're ramping up for patrons, you've already seen more live private events. We're really working on taking patrons to the next level in 2018. Go ahead, Matt.
Rick was going to leave us $1 million. And now he can't. So, hey, Chris Rock's in the house. What's up there, cousin?
Hey, there you go. Chris Rock. He's always joining us. I love it. Patron member. All right. So let's talk about her last question, because
there's a couple parts that we still need to hit. And if you open the link to, because you had some notes there. Yeah, open that bad boy. All right. So she also want to talk about getting into clubs and kind of the culture. I mean, it's definitely.
She talked about old lady versus, and
let's just start out with, it is a male, and you talked about it earlier. It's kind of male dominated. I don't know if you want to call it a sport or what do you want to call it? Culture. Sport. I guess technically it's a culture. Culture. Yeah, it's fairly male dominated, but I think I've seen that change over the years. You see more and more female riders, and I would say if she has any concern about being a female rider and riding in groups or going to events, put all that aside. If you want to ride, get out there and ride, just like the video you were talking about there, or not you were talking about, the video you played in the beginning with the gal talking about her experience with getting a Harley and riding. If you want to ride, just get out there and ride. If you're talking about joining clubs, there are clubs. There's obviously a lot more male-centered clubs, but there are female-centered clubs. You mentioned Iron Maidens in that. I keep saying you mentioned. You didn't mention. You played it. The gal mentioned it in that video. But there are lots of female clubs.
We have one around here that's female only.
Yep, and there's hog chapters that do have both, male and female. So there's definitely
there's lots of LGBT clubs.
I'm sure there is. So you can, where anybody can.
It doesn't matter. Whatever you feel like that day. If you feel like somebody that day, then
whatever
that's what
you're identifying as.
Whatever you're identifying as that day, Lurch. Like today, you're identifying as a female, and that's okay. There's just get it. Just feel your inner feelings. It's all how you feel. Just be,
maybe it's just the older I've gotten, the testosterone's not flowing like it used to. Maybe I'm just a little more in touch with my female side. But what I was trying to say before you got in there and started making jokes or jackwagon is there are plenty of opportunities for female riders if they want to join a club. It doesn't have to be a female-only club. There are options like Hog and stuff like that allow male and female members. So by all means.
Keith French says that most Hog chapters have both.
Yeah. They have ladies of Harley. Okay. So there's a lot of opportunities for women to join clubs if they choose. As far as becoming an old lady, I can't tell you we have any experience with that, because that's more of a, I don't know. I don't really care for that term. And maybe it's because when I grew up, my dad told me that was a derogatory term. You don't refer to your mom as the old lady.
Right.
So maybe that's just lingering with me, but, I don't, we're a law-abiding club, and we don't have old ladies. We have wives.
Well, I'll tell you this real quick. If you do choose the old lady route, then you can just kiss your dreams of riding a motorcycle goodbye, because old ladies don't ride. You ride on the back. You're not allowed to ride, and that's not really your place. If you're going to get in that culture, just FYI, you'll be told quickly that that's not your place, that you sit on the back and shut up and mind your P's and Q's if you're going to get into that criminal element, mostly do the old lady thing.
And that's using the term correctly. An old lady isn't a 1% club, and like you said, your property and
property of, you'll wear a property of vest,
and you ride on the back, or you drive the crash truck.
Right, whatever they tell you to do, pretty much.
Yeah, I see you had a note there. I didn't realize you had that written out there. So yeah, big difference between being a female member of a club that allows female members versus an old lady, and that could just be she might not be using the term old lady in the way we're discussing
exactly.
it.
Exactly. Good point.
Yeah, but definitely, I mean, there's a lot of clubs where men and women belong to, husbands and wives belong to.
This is really,
and the women ride, the men ride. So, I don't imagine she's looking to become an old lady. Maybe she is good. I wouldn't suggest you do that, but
because you won't be riding a bike. Her whole point is finding a bike that fits her. You can just throw your bike riding dreams away.
That's why I'm saying I don't think that's the way she meant it when she said it, but
I agree. This is where we should have consulted Matt Lauer and Harvey Weinstein. FYI, they would have been able to really, really dive in on the subject on how they would treat a female in a club, right?
Yeah. And when she asked about initiations in her voicemail, I would imagine, depending on what female club you were joining, there might be some type of initiations. I don't know.
Yeah, we call them. We less call them initiations as we do. Like you sworn
hanging around, get to know you.
Yeah, right. Hanging around and getting to know you. We would call them probationary periods.
Yeah,
I think would be mostly a better. If you get in a club that's initiating you, then you're probably in a 1% club that's doing some sort of hazing.
Yeah,
or initiation.
That sounds almost like a frat club,
correct,
or a 1% club, where they're gonna haze you and initiate you,
belittle you.
It's versus a probationary period where it's solely there to
see if you fit in,
get to know the person, check out their writing skills, and see if they fit in, which is such a huge part of it.
Right. Mm-hmm. We've been doing a lot of that lately. And so that would be our, the Sworn Few Motorcycle Club, Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club. That would be us as a probationary period. Yeah, a lot of clubs have that. But there's other clubs that have zero. Like, let's just talk about the Blue Knights. They allow women, and they allow 0 probationary period. And as long as you pay your dues, you'll get your patches and get in. So that's just, we've done a lot of club episodes, so I don't want to go down that rabbit hole too far. Search the website. Just go, we have a search bar in the upper right-hand corner of every web page for a reason, because our website is highly trafficked now. And we got a lot of evergreen content and a lot of club stuff in there that we've done. And so you can search for those type of thing, club interviews and all those type of issues and forming clubs. We did a lot of that stuff early on too.
Yeah. Now we don't do that stuff quite as much anymore.
I will do it. The subject doesn't come up as much.
But we've definitely steered more towards just motorcycling, the industry, products, and things like that. We've got away from the club stuff because you can.
I'll go back to it if I need to.
But it's not the only thing we talk about. Otherwise, you get yourself into a pigeonhole, and that's all the podcast is about. And we want to be about motorcycling in general. So while it is an issue, and we do have episodes when we talk about it, it's not a huge part of what we do.
Good call. Yeah. So the only other thing I wanted to say, so as far as clubs, just scrap the old lady thing. Maybe like Matt says, that was an improper term, but we want you to ride. We want you to feel your knees in the breeze. We want you to have the freedom of riding. So, if you do want to join a female only club, or like I say, there is both, as we discussed, hog chapters and Blue Knights. We mentioned one. There's a lot of only male clubs too. So it kind of goes both ways. The only other thing I'm going to digress a little bit on is I forgot to mention. So if you're going to ride a bigger bike and you're a short lady, there's one more mod, and it seems funny, but it's not. Get the seat. That'll drop you a couple inches. Drop your suspension 1 inch if you want there. Taller boots. That's not a joke.
No.
You can get lugs soles that'll bring you up an inch.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking 5'2", an inch means a lot.
It does.
So a seat 2 inches and lugs get an inch. You just gain 3 inches. So now you're all of a sudden 5'5" instead of 5'2", Stephanie. So boots and a seat alone pretty much gets you on most bikes, except maybe an ultra classic, which would be a little bit higher, or an Electra, but still, even then, you probably just have to tiptoe. So hopefully those are some easy things that she can do, and none of those are really labor intensive. Switching a seat's easy. We got you back on the suspension if you were going to do that, because we've got a video on how to change your rear suspension out. So pretty much it would be parts, and then your boots. And somebody said earlier, which was funny, I think it was Keith French, stilettos. Stilettos can gain you 8 inches easy, the ones I've seen.
As you're talking about boots, I'm thinking that in my head. And the funny thing is, women are used to walking in crazy shoes, right? And so they can get away. You're talking about lugs. It's maybe an inch taller than wearing some sneakers that are flat, but I'm sure they make some boots that have 2 or 3 inches on them that a woman might be used to walking in and be no big deal. So there is actually, it's not a joke. It's a real legitimate option for a female rider, or hell, even just a short male rider if you need to be able to reach the ground. A little bit taller shoes are not. It's an option.
Absolutely,
legitimate option.
Yeah.
Check 1 2 1 2.
Test. Am I back? This mic's been acting up. It was acting up when I started today. What do you say? We are, hang on, Matt.
Your connection's going bad or something there? You want me to do a
test? Are we, hang on, just give me a second.
I'll fix it. I'll fix it in post.
Yeah, right. This mic's done this before.
You need to grab that one, bring it around.
Just a second.
Live audience, bear with us as Ryan twiddles his microphone plug-in over there.
Test. All right. Yeah, it was dead when I started it. This one's done that over the years. Remember, I've just never replaced it. Yeah, this mic's it's done over the years. You've seen it before. It did it like 2 years ago. It does it very randomly and then it never does it again. So I hate to replace a freaking whatever these cost.
I can hear it a little bit right now even.
No, it's good now. It's crystal clear now.
Okay.
It's back. I can't hear it in my headphones at all. It's crystal clear.
All right.
So if I do need to replace it, I will. It seems like it's always the connection right here. So I think it's in the microphone. I hate to replace that.
Definitely not the cable.
No. So we're going live at 8 p.m. We got to take this one out. 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It will be public. So you'll have to come back to the YouTube live page and I'll set up another live and then it'll have a countdown. It may take a couple minutes if you guys are going to come back live. Do we have time for an email? I had another voicemail and an email to handle, but I just had
we got about 5 minutes.
Okay. Let's handle a voicemail. This one we can handle really quick. Let's listen to this voicemail. This is from John. Go ahead and take a listen in here. Yeah, there's my mic again. Yep.
Good evening. I'm John. I'm living in Dallas, Texas, and I'm part of a motorcycle club that is just left our mother chapter, who decided to go a different direction from where they were going, which was they were going to work with and support the 1% club in Texas. And our chapter decided that's not what we want to do, so we decided to get around that and basically disassociate ourselves from that club. We are either going to start a new club, or we were actually looking at the values of the Iron Legacy, and it kind of matched the values that we have. We are not a Leo or a public safety type of club. We're almost like just a Christian motorcycle club. And we were thinking that would be probably better way to go. But after some research the last couple days, we've looked at some of this insane throttle information that's coming out about IZOD, and we wanted to get your take on what is being put out there, and also to understand what the Alliance opportunity or what the Alliance is thinking about with this information coming out. We just want to make the best decision possible.
Well, first of all, I'd like to commend him and the rest of them that are willing to step away from the club that they currently belong because they're going to support the dominant 1% club there in Texas. I think it takes it takes some balls to step away from the rest of the group and probably some people that you really have gotten to like and love and say, hey, I don't want to go down that road and step away. So first and foremost, I'd like to just say, good job on making that decision. I think in the long run, especially if you're more of a Christian club, starting to support that 1% club is going to probably most likely take you down a path you guys don't want to go. So good decision.
Yeah. And now Deep Thoughts by Matt Handy. Remember that? No, that's good. And we're not going to dwell on this a lot. I'm not going to speak for the Iron Legacy. I don't know much about him. Haven't looked into him. I'm going to tell you this real quick. He mentioned, and this is the problem, guys. I've told you guys before, these are basement bloggers. These guys are living in their mom's basement, sitting in their underwear. He mentioned some insane throttle. What a trash, guys. Insane throttle. Don't get your information.
I wonder
insane
if
throttle about, no, I checked their site. It's a spam site.
Hold on a second. I wonder if he was he referring to the Full Throttle Full Mag that talks about the Alliance?
No, he was talking about Insane Throttle.
Okay, because
I researched the information.
He mentions the Alliance as well, who we've talked to people from the Alliance and from Full Throttle Full Mag.
What he was getting at is the Iron Legacy, are they safe because they're part of they are accepted as a law-abiding biker club by that organization, by the Alliance,
right?
And then Insane Throttle.
I'm tracking. They're saying bad things about him.
They've been coming out with the trashiest articles.
Okay.
Trash site, guys. Stay off those sites. Don't give them credibility. They have zero credibility in the industry. Their sites are trash. They got spam all over them. That Insane Throttle. Just go look at the comments, and they talk about effing people like dogs, and I'm going to slit your throat. And I mean, when you have comments, heard of this one. There you go. Thank you.
Never heard of it.
There's a reason you don't, because they're trash sites. They're trash sites run by some guy in his basement. Who knows what he's doing in his basement.
I've only heard of one of those, which I won't even mention on this podcast. blogs. There's one that I can think of. I've never heard of this guy.
No.
So it's some small time thing.
There's a couple other guys that.
Pick a club that fits your values and you think you're going to fit into, and don't worry about what some guy in his underwear is writing on the internet.
Yeah, and please don't read that, because they're saying stuff. They're printing articles recently about Ray Izod and the Iron Legacy. We don't get involved in any of that. Don't care. Not my club, not my problems. We run our own club, and you'll have to talk to the Alliance about that, and if you have problems. But nonetheless, just because you see it on the internet doesn't mean it's legit. Like, especially if you see comments about effing each other like dogs and stuff, you can know really quick that you're on a crap 1%er site, and anybody can throw up a website nowadays. So be careful with that. The other thing I'll say is, I would say just go start your own club. Yeah. If I were you, just go start your own club. You're a Christian club. There's tons of Christian clubs. Do your own thing. Do it the way you want. That's what we did when we broke off and started the Sworn Few. You'll be happier. You won't have to put up with any of their, if they do have stuff going on, you don't got to put any up with any of it. Go ahead. You wanted to say something?
No, you said what I was going to say exactly. Is he's talking about being a Christian club. Start your own club. What's stopping you from doing it? It's a little bit of work. Sure, it's easier just to jump onto another club, but if you don't find one that fits your values and what you and your group believe in, start your own. It's a little bit labor intensive to get your bylaws written, and get your colors picked out and get your 501c3 if that's the route you want to go and do all that. Yeah, it's labor intensive, but man, it's very rewarding in the end, because you get to build it from the ground up, and you have all the say in how it operates, and then you start attracting like-minded individuals. Next thing you know, you got a really good, solid group. So if they're going to go with Christian route, I'd say start your own. But again, like you said, not our club when it comes to the Iron Legacy. If it works for you, join them. But just join a group that fits your beliefs. And again, congratulations on making the decision not to be part of a club that supports a 1% club.
Yep. And last, just be careful where you get your information. Go to valid sources, which is why you came to us, obviously, because, you got to be careful about that. And John, I don't know who you are. This is from Pablo Calcerada.
Who's in the, or wasn't. He may be, or he was in the
He
chat.
was. He made this tune for us, and we thank you. John, we don't know who you are. If you listen to this, make sure you leave us an email, admin, law-abiding biker. Give the episode number that we used your voicemail, what it was about. We'll verify and get a t-shirt out to you. Don't get stranded, Bikeaholics. Get hooked up right now. We have them in stock. Yes, we have them back in stock in our store. Cruise Tools, RTH3, roll-up travel toolkit for Harley-Davidson and American-made V-twin motorcycles. Why get stranded? Have your bike towed over a small dam repair lurch.
Unacceptable.
This quality-made toolkit has everything you need for a roadside emergency repair. Tested and used by the Law-Abiding Biker crew. Yep, it has our stamp, mushroom stamp of approval on it. We won't leave a mushroom stamp on it.
I might.
Lurch might. Oh, God. Get it already. That's the Cruise Tools RTH3 kit. We brought it right to the Law-Abiding Biker store, lawabidingbiker.com/store. Nothing but 5-star reviews. Big Daddy Kane, Grunt, who run the Lab store, have them in stock ready to ship to you right this very minute. In fact, Big Daddy's in the group chat. I know he's hovering right now. He's got a shelf in our new facility. He's looking at him. He's got a box. He's got tape in one hand. He's got a box in one hand, bubble wrap in his mouth.
And a box full of what? Good times.
Good, a box full of good
Every
times.
order from the Law-Abiding Biker podcast. Every order from the Law-Abiding Biker store comes with one free good time. And Pablo is still in the chat. Thanks for this tune, Pablo.
Yeah, thanks, Pablo. We've been playing it, so appreciate that very much. I got it on a loop now, Pablo, because last time it ran out. It wasn't long enough, so I put it on a loop now. All right, guys, that's it. We got to go because we got 10 minutes before our public live show. Thanks for being with us, the private patrons. Again, if you want to come over with us to the live public event where everybody, and it'll be all about the state, the recent fire, the state of law-abiding biker media in 2018, where we're going, how we're trying to get back up and running with some of the store stuff. Anyways, you'll have to go to lawabidingbiker.com/live or /YouTube. Go to our live YouTube page, and I'll reset it, and it may take just a couple minutes, and then it'll show a countdown ticker, and that will be the way you get back in there. You won't get in through it through Patreon or anything like that. You'll get in it through, again, through our live YouTube page, lawabidingbiker.com/YouTube I guess is probably the best way you get there. All right, we got to get out of here.